And we're back, guys. Thanks for that. Just doing part two. Had to sort some stuff out with the kids, so we'll try again. I felt really bad because we had to drop our group partner there, but then it's like I didn't know how long I was going to be sorting Esther out. And I could have realistically been holding her up.
I need to target something first.
But yeah, man, I'll definitely check out those beginner's guides when I've got a chance. Probably after my stream, I'll sit and watch them.
I do not have a target.
Tell you though, the Warlock is having some very satisfying gameplay right now. It just feels nice. This the spec, the destruction wall. It just feels very enjoyable. And to be honest, that's what I like about this, because with an enjoyable spec comes more engaging gameplay. Like, I've played the melee classes. I don't want to play melee. I want to go into Shadowlands and I want to play a caster. And the class fantasy of Warlock I like, so it makes sense. Ah, it's a hunter. Oh, we got. My favourite movie, Lord Arbiter. Oh, that's a good question. I was thinking about this earlier. Now, my favourite film, it's hard because I seem to have favourite films of different genres. But if I had to pick a singular film to be my favourite film of all time, what could I watch over and over and over and over again and not get bored? Either Lords of Salem, which is a Rob Zombie movie, or it'd be Lords of Salem, Thor Ragnarok, or possibly A Beautiful Mind. Ready Player One's pretty good. Ready Player One, I liked Ready Player One. We do have an Esther encroaching on us again. Ready Player One was good. It was interesting. It was a really interesting idea. I think conceptually they did something really different there, and that's what I was impressed with. I'll fix it for you, Esther, okay? Here you go. Yeah, Ready Player One was really good, actually. I watched it, it wasn't at the cinema when I watched it. I watched it a long time after. I watched it, I think about 2 months ago. And it taken me forever to watch it, but I liked it. I liked Ready Player One. I liked the whole story behind it, the idea of what it was, and that that was kind of how the world had sort of become virtual because of the population and stuff. I think another one of my favourite films is just Dracula, the one with Gary Oldman in it as well. The only problem with that is Keanu Reeves' awful English accent in that film. But we don't talk about that. But then also, again, Oh yeah, yeah. So did I. Well, I quite liked it. I quite liked how they had so many references, and it was truly. If you're a fan of video games, Ready Player One was one of those where it didn't matter your level of exposure to gaming. It was like there was something you recognized and something you could understand.
I do not have a target.
And there was something in it where you knew what you were looking at, and I think it was quite good because it didn't matter your level of engagement with gaming. There was something for everybody in that film to go, oh yeah, I've played that, or I know what that is. Which I thought was quite nice. But going into the realm of film, there's so many films I like, but I tend to not have a singular favourite. I have a favourite for each genre. So each genre of film I have a favourite. So like my favourite horror film of all time is, well, I suppose counts as horror, is Dracula. My favourite action movie of all time, if I had to pick one, is Inception. My favourite hero movie, Thor Ragnarok. Or Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange I liked as well. Doctor Strange is probably actually, I think, take it back, I think Doctor Strange I prefer to Thor Ragnarok. Simply because I like the lore behind Doctor Strange. And then there's other films I like. So, for example, my sort of my favourite epic, so like a like a big sort of epic high fantasy piece is probably Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. But it's suffice to say that you can't, for me, pick out a singular favourite movie. In my opinion, because I have a favourite movie for different topics. Just personal opinion is like, I think it's too hard for me to pick a favourite film because there are reasons I like movies that aren't the same. So like, I'll like films for different reasons. So I might like a film because it made me emotional. I might like a film because it challenged my opinion on something, or it made me think about something, or if a movie scared me, or if a movie made me like got me into something I didn't know before, things like that. You see, there's so many different reasons to like a film, and for some of them, for example, it's just the concept or the ideology behind it. So there's an old film called Koyanis Kwatsi, which I really like, which is a movie without any words. In fact, it's more of a documentary and it's a statement piece. If you look up Koyanis Kwatsi, it's quite interesting. It's about the state of the world. And so it's like, I like that from an artistic point of view because it's a very artistic film, but it doesn't actually have anyone speaking. There's no acting in it. It's more just an objective look at the world we live in. So it's one of those things where, I mean, Ready Player One though is such a good. I'm not gonna say that's not a good film or a good choice. It's a damn good film and a damn good choice. I recently rewatched District 9 as well. I believe it's District 9, the one that was originally going to be a Halo film and then it got changed. But you see, I'm a bit of the arts nerd myself, so I'm a big fan of movies by. When I studied Spanish, I studied a director called Pedro Almodovar. And Almodovar does some amazing films. And they are really interesting. But a lot of it is subtext, and a lot of it is about sort of what's the hidden meaning behind what the director's getting at in certain things. War movies about World War II. Ah, nice. Speaking of war movies, I'm taking it. Did you see Dunkirk then, or if you like war movies?
I do not have a target.
I mean, I know. I say it's like I like my war films, but they've got to be a good war film. So I like Darkest Hour, 1917. That was a good film. But I like Darkest Hour, which was about Winston Churchill. That was quite good as well. We had Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill. And that's more about the political side of the war, but it's about Winston Churchill, so what was happening back home during the Second World War. It's a really good film. So it's not about war, it's a wartime film. Another decent war film is Memphis Belle. Memphis Belle is about a bomber plane. Saving Private Ryan, yeah, of course. Amazing film. I don't think anyone can challenge that. I don't mind my war films, they just have to be good ones. Like War Horse was good as well. Well, so War Horse was good. Let's see. There are so many good films set in that film period. So you've got like a lot of the pieces around there as well. So you've got like you've got the war films. You've got Dunkirk, Saving Private Ryan, 1917, Darkest Hour. You've got Schindler's List. This all these amazing films set around the Second World War, which are all just such good films. I mean, I mean, some of them are uncomfortable to watch, i.e., the Boy in the Striped Pajamas, but like Boy in Striped Pajamas, it's an uncomfortable watch because it's so sad, but at the same time, it's just it's heart-wrenching, but also amazing at the same time. So I can't really. And Band of Brothers, yeah, Band of Brothers is good. I didn't realize I just been running through this instance with my Voidwalker. Yeah, Band of Brothers was good though. Band of Brothers was fun. And there's I mean, it's about I think it's obviously not strictly speaking World War II or anything like that, but Blackadder Goes Forth was about, I know it's First World War, but it was a good war comedy style piece about being in the trenches. Yeah, I think I'll be honest, I don't trust anybody who doesn't love Blackadder. Blackadder's amazing. So I like the Blackadder Goes Forth one, especially because there's the one sketch where Rowan Atkinson, so Blackadder, he's he's come up with an idea. He wants to go home from the war, and he's fed up. Like, so he decides he's going to try and convince his sergeant that he has gone insane. So what he does is he wraps a towel around his head and sticks some pencils up his nose and answers every single question with Wibble. Except for when they ask him where he's from. When Baldrick goes, where are you from? He goes, London, a small city on Mars outside the capital, Wibble. And I just thought it was really funny because I was like, I don't know why, but it just tickled me because it's like, well, what I really like about Blackadder is it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's pure absurdist comedy at its best. And absurdism, the reason I like absurdism is because it doesn't have to make sense for it to be funny. In fact, the contextual stuff is that it's funny because it doesn't make sense. Why are we... Hang on. Hang on a minute. Why? Why is that gnome transmog his armor to be practically naked? It's just uncalled for.
Target something first. I do not have a target. Perhaps I can find. Must get closer.
Yeah, Blackadder was well entertaining though. I like I also like I like all. I don't think there's a bad Blackadder. I'm a big fan of British comedies, so the classics like Faulty Towers, stuff like that as well. Security isn't a dirty word, Blackadder. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Why is it? What's happening in this dungeon? Why is everyone so terrible? I tried.
Great to meet you. Keep your feet on the ground.
I just vote kick the warrior because Vicar of Dibley's quite good. Yeah, yeah. There's another good British comedy I like called Black Books with Dylan Moran, and also there's one called Uncle with Nick Helm. That's more of a recent one, but Uncle's really good. And the reason I like Uncle is because I feel like I can relate to Nick Helm's character on a personal level, and I don't feel like I should be able to, but I do. It's like, I'm not saying he's right, I'm saying I understand.
I need to target something first.
Oh, yeah, well, we got rid of that warrior who was causing all the problems, but as soon as someone says shit show, all I can think of is Taliesin never tells, no, it was a shit show, obviously. Which is, it does sum up the World of Warcraft forums quite well. Every time anything happens in Warcraft, the forums explode with rage, and it's like, well, I'm sorry that you guys don't like change, I guess? Yeah, Vicar of Dibley. To be fair, there's some really good British comedies, and I think it's, what I recently got was Disney Plus. This is nothing to do with British comedy, by the way. It's just about rewatching old TV shows. Black Books. Black Book. You do like Black Books. Good, good. My favourite bit's where when he goes to the shop, and he's when he's really hungover, and he wants the he's asking for Alka-Seltzer, and it's like the fizzy feel good, fizzy feel goods, please. Fizzy make feel better, please. Because that is me after a night out, going down to the local paper shop, going, I need the fizzy make feel better. Something else I've taken to watching is Friday Night Dinner as well. I'm completely made of bosoms. One guy. Oh yeah, when the parents. My best friend Jacob is a huge Black Books fan. If you are into that show, he can practically quote the whole thing verbatim. But for me, the holy grail of British TV comedy is, controversially, is the Mighty Boosh. The Mighty Boosh was my favourite. And it's on Netflix, so that's a plus.
I do not have a target.
And I think the reason for that is that I didn't realise it at the time. Well, I did, but literally, I basically lived my life off entirely based off what I'd learned from the Mighty Boosh when I was a teenager.
I require a target.
Oh, Red Dwarf, yeah. Oh, yeah, Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf's really good. And as I say, with myself, the classic comedies are great, but for me, I absolutely adore the Mighty Boosh. There's Noel Fielding's character of and when he's talking about the hairspray, it's goth juice. It's made of Robert Smith's tears, the most powerful hairspray known to man. When him and Howard are going to go meet the goth girls, and he wants to impress them, and Howard Moon is not gothic whatsoever, so they try and goth him up, and it doesn't work. It starts talking about jazz and stuff. Also, a very, very powerful quote, I believe, from Mighty Boosh is, "Yorkshire isn't a place, Yorkshire's a state of mind." And I felt that. Yorkshire is a state of mind. Usually muttering "how much" when you go and try and buy a pint. I think,
Do not have a target.
yeah, it's interesting when you look at,
I need to target something.
you recently watched 2 episodes of Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf's so good. It's been so long since I've watched it, but honestly, it's one of the best shows one of the best. It's just a lot of fun at the end of the day. And I like, at the time there was nothing like it. There was nothing like it at the time, and it rips into shows like it's basically like it rips into shows basically off the sci-fi premise of sort of Star Trek. And I like that it plays off those tropes really well, but it just completely messes with you at the same time. And also just having Craig Charles say the word Smeghead that many times is somehow turned into comedy gold.
I require a target. I do not have a target. I require a target.
I feel like the writers of Red Dwarf would like literally looking at Craig Charles like, listen, what we need you to do is just, how many times that you can work Smeghead into this sentence? Smeghead. I've assigned also Chris Berry and a picture. Oh, nice one. Nice. Got it at Comic-Con. See, I need to go to these comic. I've not been to the Comic-Cons. I really haven't, and I keep meaning to, but I've just not been. I've always had something to do at the time. I've always been busy doing something whenever it's been Comic-Con. I've always been busy just at the time. I don't know why, but I think it always seems to fall at a time either when I'm on holiday or when I'm going to see a concert or something.
I need to target something first.
Time for some beer.
I require a target.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check it out. I'm sure
Something first.
I'll see the I'm sure I'll see the picture, but yeah, there's some.
Have a target.
I don't really have pictures. I don't really have much signed stuff. I have pictures with like band members. Such a nice guy, really friendly. Yeah, it's like with me, it's like a lot of it's bands. So when I met Ollie Herman from Reckless Love, one of my favourite bands for the first time, I expected him to be kind of that rock star mentality where he doesn't really have much time for his fans, but he was so nice, honestly. I met him, I was 17? And it's, yeah, it was awesome. And then I met Bowling for Soup twice. And then I met Patent Pending, who are a band I like. I've also managed to meet, Bring Me the Horizon. That doesn't count because they're from Sheffield. I met some of the guys in While She Sleeps. I've met, God, who else have I met? Patent Pending. I've met the Dolly Rots, Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. I've met the guys in Medina Lake. I met the guys in Stop Stop. The guy who voices Fry, that's cool.
What is this? What have you done? You're ruining everything.
That's cool though. That you got that autograph. That's cool. See, for me, as I say, I've met a lot of musicians because I go to a lot of shows. Not currently, but you know. I met the guys in Davey Suicide. They were a good band. I mean, there are a couple of people I'd really like to meet. And it's like I would really like to meet a couple of actors. I'd like to meet David Tennant. I'd like to meet Matt Smith. I've met John Sim, who played the Master in Doctor Who, as well as several other shows. I've met the guy who plays Woody from This Is England, and the guy who plays Sean in This Is England. But a couple of actors I'd love to meet. Definitely a handful of actors that I think would be really nice just to say I've met them. I'd like to meet Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And also I'd love to meet Jack Black. I'm sure Jack Black, didn't he play like Minecraft with PewDiePie or something recently. He is more one of those people. Here's your autograph. Yeah. Well, I think so. The thing is with celebrity, I think what a lot of people don't understand is like famous people. Actually, meet and greets can be very stressful for them. I think it's underrated that. Oh yeah, I've met the guys in Ailstorm as well. I just remembered. But it's like meet and greets must be really stressful because especially if you're not used to being around a lot of people, so people are naturally introverted.
Need help?
Ah, what's this? The Staff of Two Worlds. You get a versatility buff from it, but then we lose our critical strikes. I'm not going to take that. There's a lot of people I'd like to meet, but they always do say don't meet your heroes. Which I can understand. It's like, I don't think I'd ever want to meet the guys in my favourite band in case they don't live up to what I expect them to be. So I would never want to meet the guys in Ghost, even though I love the band Ghost so much. Although they all apparently are lovely people. I don't know if I'd ever want to actually meet my favourite band, just in case I was disappointed by what the experience I have with them. In the same way that legacy-wise, if I was to meet, say, my favourite band from the 80s, like Rat, I don't know if I actually want to meet them. Because it's one of those things of if you're disappointed by your interactions with them, then does that ruin them forever for you? You know what I mean? And some people it would. Me personally, no, not so much, but there are some people where it would ruin that for them. And I think what people tend to forget about these celebrities is that, and this sounds like really dumb, but they are people too. And because of that, like, you know, they might just be having a bad day, and people are, oh, they're assholes, you know. It's not great. I mean, I imagine that being famous, like, has its perks, but I imagine it also kind of sucks in a weird way. Because once you're well known to the world, you have zero privacy. You can't have a private life and be famous, basically. It's very hard to do that. Which is why I think certain celebrities don't like unnecessary meetings, because they feel like they're exposing themselves to people when they don't have to. There's a couple of people I'd like to meet from YouTube as well, like Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, Jacksepticeye. People like that. I'd like to meet Count Dankula as well. One of my favourite YouTubers. And I think some people are more inclined to social situations than others. I think some people are really good at dealing with. So, for example, you know, you've got your celebrities who are really, really good at dealing with the fans, and others who are not so good at it. Because bear in mind, celebrities, maybe especially voice actors, theoretically don't have to have any people skill whatsoever to do what they do. especially if they are spending their days in a recording studio and they don't really like being out in public interacting with people. There's a lot of different factors around it, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. And if a celebrity it does seem like that, it's like when I met Jeff Hardy from WWE. I wasn't too upset because I realised that I wanted to spend more time talking to him, but because of how busy the autograph signing was for Jeff Hardy, I wasn't like offended that I got moved on because he didn't ask me to move on. It was the security guards were like, yeah, come on, come on. Another. It's like I'd love to see a band called Fizzy live, and they're fronted by a WWE wrestler called Chris Jericho. Well, former WWE, now AEW wrestler called Chris Jericho, and I would love to see them live, and I'd love to meet Chris or Le Champion as he calls himself. Okay, so our Lightforged Draenei Paladin is called Yeah Boy.
Do not have a target. I require a target. Greetings. Well met.
Rowan Atkinson, yeah, absolutely, man. I bet he's hilarious. Like I liked Mr. Bean's Holiday as well. Mr. Bean's the TV series was always good. I mean, there are certain people I'd like to meet, like Ozzy Osbourne as well. I'd love to meet Ozzy Osbourne.
Target something first.
I'd love to meet Ozzy Osbourne myself.
I do not have a target.
But I imagine Rowan Atkinson's good fun. I say I know somebody who used to go to university where Patrick Stewart would guest lecture on their acting course, and I was like, that's amazing.
Need to target something first.
Ozzy Osbourne. Well, I don't know. See, he recently released some new music as well, which is nice. Ozzy Osbourne, like the Ordinary Man. With Ozzy Osbourne, it's he's got Parkinsons, but he's had Parkinsons for a long time. I think it kind of speaks for itself when you look at the guy's the way he's struggled with his addiction and stuff. But I'd love to meet Ozzy Osbourne because all I tell him is I think he's an absolute legend. I'd probably offer to buy him a pint. I mean, he is the Prince of Darkness after all. He's the fucking Prince of Darkness.
I need to target something first. Clear a target.
And there was the quad by accident. Oh yeah, left him a mess. He recovered from that though. He still carried on playing music and doing stuff after that. With his main issue is the fact he's got Parkinson's, but then it's manageable, and they're dealing with it. You know, it's like there was a massive media stir a while back because people were claiming he was dying and stuff, and it wasn't the case. And so he's not in the best shape of his life, but he hasn't been in the best shape of his life since the end of the 1970s. So. Funny enough, he's got a song on his latest album called "Under the Graveyard" about how he went on this sort of drug-fueled madness at the in the 70s, and it's when Sharon kind of saved him. I highly recommend that with Ozzy Osbourne. It's like I recommend like his newer music, like "Ordinary Man" and "Under the Graveyard." It tells a story about him. It's really interesting. Yeah, changes. Yeah, changes. Did that as well. Well, the thing is, there's two versions of changes, which I think you'd be referring to, because there's the one where he did originally with Black Sabbath, and there's the one that he sang with Kelly Osbourne, his daughter, in the early 2000s. I prefer the original. It's got a much more retrification sound, and it's really nice. It's quite sad, actually, but. Oh yeah, you've heard the one with Kelly Osbourne. Um, I recommend if you've not heard the original, if you were to YouTube it, it's called Black Sabbath Changes. It's the original version that he sang with his, obviously with the band Black Sabbath back when he did with them. But I think Ozzy Osbourne's personal best music was with Black Sabbath. Songs like Paranoid and Iron Man, War Pigs. But he also did some of his solo stuff like No More Tears and stuff that was quite good. And Let Me Hear You Scream and Dreamer, stuff like that. But yeah, the Kelly Osbourne one being the one you've heard. It's a good version of the song. It's just not the original because he re-sang it with his family. But the original is the Black Sabbath version, and if I'm honest, it's much more sad.
I require a target. I need to target something first. I require a target.
There's also a really good song that he sang, as I say, called Dreamer, which is good.
I need to target something first. I do not have a target.
Ozzy Osbourne did some really good stuff. In fact, to be fair, Ozzy Osbourne will be something that, were it not for getting copy strikes, I would quite happily blast Ozzy Osbourne while leveling this warlock. Oh, warlock got that big dick DPS.
I need to target something first. Over.
Copyright strikes. Yeah, exactly. It's like if I. Well, I would love to sit here and have my Spotify playlist on because I just tell people about all the music I listen to, maybe bands they've never heard of, while I'm doing it. And I know some other streamers do it, but I know that content doesn't ever go onto YouTube. So because they don't get a lot of people viewing their streams, they get away with it. But I personally don't want to risk that because I know it'll get taken off YouTube. Well, and YouTube's where I like to upload my after content. So whenever I finish my stream, that's where I upload stuff.
You have faced many challenges. Pity they were all in vain. Soon your people will kneel to my lord. You are nothing. I answer a higher call. My lord will be the end of you. Too far away.
Drop a Chaos Bolt.
I require a target.
Always request Miku songs. Oh, I suppose if you're a fan, yeah, definitely, it's a good idea. I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Miku stuff, to be honest. I mean, it's like, if that's what you like. We've got a little bit of lag going on here. I think we might be getting a little drop, yep. just gonna keep trying to reconnect our internet. Sorry about this, guys. It looks like our internet's back up anyway, but let's just double check. So let's check now to see if we can get our internet back. Just 1 second. I'm just going to cut this part for YouTube while we're waiting to get out to restore our internet. So, just a moment.